What's going on, guys? This is Kaisho, welcome back. So we are back with another video. So in this video, we're going to cover OCG Metagame report and decklist reviews from February 15 to February 19. So a little bit late, no? But we're going to cover a ton of tournament data gathering from bigger regions in Asia. We do have Japan, South Korea, China, and Taiwan. So without further ado, let's start. So moving on, first we do have the Willis King Cup tournament with Malice as the champion, 5-0 record, quite astounding. And looking on our deck list here is just so pure. You just play the recent techs with Book of Moon answering the Rizeol problem, and inevitably going to answer your detonator matchup. And also the deck list is pretty much linear. Only played one of the new main deck support for Malice from ALIN and played the Ignister package on it. And moving on, next we do have Malice once again. So pretty similar deck list, but displaying more tech cards here on the main, and also played copies of Artifact Sanctum, which is kinda unjust recently. A lot of Malice players are pivoting towards Judgment or Strike, but there's still a number of them that are playing the Sanctum and Sight package. But all in all, pretty solid deck list and quite different from the usual. Moving on, next we do have Eldlich. So Eldlich has been seeing so much play recently from the past 2 weeks due to the new support that they have gotten from ALIN, and more importantly the Dragon's Mind, which protected their board. It is like a pseudo Solemn Judgment but better, and has Graveyard Recursion as well, so it's just infinitely better than your usual Judgment on Eldlich. And the recent build was incorporating Reasoning on the main deck using the new Zombie Field spell, and it will work towards the Eldlich because it improves the consistency of Eldlich and being able to dump your Golden Lords on the graveyard and your Conquistador and Vaquero. Moving on, next we do have Branded 60. So pretty standard Branded 60, just play Dragoon at this point, and of course the usual Trust and Droplet, and also played a bunch of Charmies on the side deck with Meowls and Purulia. Bunch of 2-offs of those Charmies, no? 2 Foalos, 2 Purulia, and 2 Nyalos. Or Meowls rather, the new name. Next would be Dragonmaid from Korean Tournament, Dungeon Dice Tournament. So pretty standard Dragonmaid deck list. I mean, it doesn't get any better than this, no? Just Sangen Kaimen, improving the consistency of your Dragonmaid, searching your kitchen, and Super Poly as well. Very flexible card for the Dragonmaid. And yeah, opted to play Droll and Nibiru on the main deck. Didn't want to play Foalos or Purulia or even Veiler, so focus on the Droll and Nibiru. Triple Tiding as well, quite numerous. Next would be Rizeol with Dragon's Mind on the side deck. Another good tech card for Rizeol with 2/5 stat line. On your board, you're able to capitalize on this card, and still played Sanctum, which is seeing some play for Rizeol recently because most often than not you would see Judgment or things like anti-spell fragrance for the going first supplementaries on the side deck. Moving on, next we do have Gem Knights. So I think Gem Knights is a solidified deck or bona fide deck on tier C, tier D. Sometimes I think it is safe to say that it is lurking beneath tier B and tier C for the most part, but I do think that the Gem Knights is far more successful in Japan and South Korea above any other regions, especially in Southeast Asian regions. This deck doesn't see too much play. I mean, a lot of people are still clinging on their Tenpai Dragon here and Blue Eyes Primite, so yeah, we don't have spots for this kind of deck in Southeast Asia. Next we do have Malice once again. Yeah, Malice. 3 Malice in the underground. Usually you would see it at 2, but this pilot preferred 3. And the usual Solemn Strike, like I've said earlier, a lot of them are pivoting towards Solemn Strike or Judgment, and I think Sanctum can be quite different for the usual Malice builds recently. Next we do have Ancient Warrior. Wow, Ancient Warrior with Primite. Really astonishing way of playing Ancient Warrior this time. Just pure raw control. Ancient Warrior tinkering off with your Tenki and your Sunmu, starting your place from that no, and just Primite doing its job to entrap the opponent with Drill Beam. And also capitalizing on the vanilla Vorse Rider, I believe that's the name of the 1/9 attack. I used to remember this card. And moving on next, we do have Blue Eyes Primite with triple Dominus Purge and still playing the 3 talent on the main deck. No regards for Cold Buy or Cross Out. Talent would suffice and is much more better for a deck like Blue Eyes Primite. And moving on next, we do have Sky Striker, so another deck that saw massive resurgence on the past 2-3 weeks in the OCG, and it is thanks to the massive reprints that the Sky Striker have gotten over the past few sets. The deck is pretty much very budget, and this is the recent innovation for the Sky Striker. It is playing the 7 Tachyon and the Ascension to search off the Ray, and I do think that it is versatile to some extent, and it will improve the consistency of your Sky Striker. And moving on next, we do have Branded 60. So, pretty standard Branded 60. Played Farfa on the side deck. Wow. Because you can pretty much dump it off from things like grass, no, and other stuff here. And you get a free banish on your opponent's side. And moving on next, we do have Sharks XYZ. Still play the Waterbury State U if you set up the board with State U. It is pretty much game over. Most decks cannot play through the board of Kraken with the Waterbury State U. Next would be Spiral Horus. Yeah, Spiral Horus 60 card. I think this deck is one of the flavors of South Korea. They really fancy playing this deck. I don't really know what is the thought process of playing this deck, but it is just so successful on South Korea. I'm not really familiar with how Spiral functions, but I do think that if this deck goes first and setups those board with Apollousa and the Firewall Dragon, no, I think a lot of decks would have problems dealing with those kind of board. And next, we do have Blue Eyes Primite. This time, played 43 card, opted to play Flawless and Nibiru on the main deck, and Veiler as well. Moving on next, we do have Malice once again. Double Signet Mining. This time, I think the 2 Signet Mining is very popular in Southeast Asian regions. You don't really see 2 Signet on Japan, South Korea more often, but you would see it on Southeast Asian regions. And moving on next, we do have Tenpai Dragon, still very popular deck in Asia overall. I think this deck has gotten so much traction on the past 2 weeks, and it is rising through the ranks of the tier list, and it looks very scary. I think you're already occupied on dealing with ORCUS, Blue Eyes Primite, Malice, Rizeol, Regenesis, and other stuff, no? And you're still going to face Tenpai Dragon. I think you would find so many problems on dealing with a raw going second deck like Tenpai Dragon. And moving on next, we do have Rizeol once again, playing triple Meowls on the side deck, because why not? You're already playing Purulia and Flawless on the main deck now. Next would be Blue Eyes Primite once again. So Blue Eyes Primite still played the level 1 Fortuner, no? I'm not really sure what is the thought process of playing this card right now. Maybe just another fodder for extension, but yeah, I'm not really going to fancy playing this card on the modern Blue Eyes Primite. Moving on next with the White Forest. Finsmith, yeah, with Azamina as well. So technically engine deck altogether, and still played Aobao, no? I think Aobao would make a lot of sense here for the Finsmith variant of White Forest. Moving on next with our Regenesis. So Regenesis with Kashtira, Engine, with Birth and Rate Sauce. And moving on next, we do have Malice once again, triple Trust, triple Signet Mining, triple Talent. So 60 card, yeah, 60 card Malice. Without Bestials. Not sure if I'm not seeing Bestials here. Yeah, no Bestials. Wow, really insane. Malice decklist with 3 talent and 3 Signet Mining with triple trust. Next would be Memento Atlan. Triple droplet this time. I think it has been a norm. A norm for Memento Atlan. They would rather play droplet over Flawless on Memento Atlan decklist. And moving on next, we do have Regenesis once again with White Forest or Diabelzy package. No, it offers Omni Negate on your side of the field and empowers your board, but you're going to lose some key spots for non-engines. Moving on next, we do have Malice once again. Played Allure, quite different from the usual Malice, which doesn't want to play Allure recently, but this pilot deviated from the usual norms of Malice. Next would be Sun CS Dual Salon tayo in Japan, one of the biggest locals in Japan. First would be Blaze Primite, pretty standard, nothing too out of the ordinary here. Next would be Malice, one of Druid's Worm on the main deck, no Magnamut, just played one of Druid's Worm. And next would be Rizeol, double Small World. I think you don't want to see too many small worlds on your hand. That's why the recent trend for Rizeol was only playing one small world, but this pilot opted to play two. Next would be Rizeol. Oh my goodness, Rizeol Regenesis. Wow, this is crazy. Yeah, this is really crazy. Not really sure how it functions, but yeah, it looks very crispy. I think we could get so much inspiration from this type of deck. Played Upstart and Super Poly on the main deck. Wow, really insane. Moving on next, we do have White Forest, Azamina, playing 2 Meowls and 2 Purulia on the side deck, and bunch of one-offs for going first cards, 1 Summon Limit, 1 Debarrier, and 1 Sanctum, because why not? You already have Trust to search things off. And moving on next, we do have TCG Factory Tournament. Oh my goodness, what an eyesore is this. Wow. Metabeat, of course. Border, Patchy, you name it all. You already know how this works. And just incorporated the Dominus cards as well. Next would be Malice with Dotscaper. Yeah, pretty cute. And next would be, oh my goodness, what the freak, another Metabeat. Wow, these locals is pretty much really gas. Yeah, I don't really want to play on this type of environment, but 2 Metabeats on a single tournament, yeah, this is crazy. Next would be Ryuge 60 with zombie cards, and played the Eldlich package with Finsmith. Yeah, because why not? You're already going to float with your Eldlich cards, and also be able to set up a pseudo Macrocosmos on the side of the field. And next would be Tenpai Dragon, triple Regeki, triple Lightning Storm, and double Dark Hole this time. Bunch of draw powers and board breakers. No rooms for other staples like Ash Imperm, for example, no? And no Maxi. Oh my goodness, no Maxi. Wow. This is really intriguing. Next would be Duelist King Cup Tournament. Would be Cyber Dragon, Tenpai 2.0. You already know how this functions. It just goes OTK and pile damage after damage using the Cyber Dragon fusion monsters with the Rampage. And moving on next, we do have Marineford TCG Tournament. We do have Mermatlantean. Not really sure why they are playing Asian English cards on South Korea. I thought Asian English was for the Southeast Asian regions only, but it is playing Asian English cards, maybe for rarity bump, no? And next would be Malice, once again. Double Bestial package on the main deck and play the code on the extra deck. And moving on next, we do have Rizeol. Yeah, standard, nothing to say too much about this. Just played the one of Case Hunter. Next would be Memantotlan. Bunch of Memantotlan on our report recently. Played double Trust and 1 Sanctum on the side deck, and double Droplet on the side. Only playing 1 Droplet on the main deck. Quite intriguing. And moving on next, we do have Rizeol once again. Yeah, standard just played Judgment and Anti-Split Fragrance this time. And moving on next to the White Forest, Finsmith Azamina. Only one of Deception. I think it has been the trend for quite some time already. Not really sure why it is at only at one. Maybe you don't really want to open it, but I do think that 2 is fine for the White Forest. And moving on next, we do have Rizeol once again. Double droplet this time. No regards for back row removal. Only one duster, no lightning storm or evenly. Just played one duster and one reboot. Not really going to do that in the Philippines because you're going to get punished with so many anti-meta back row decks. And moving on next to the, speaking of anti-meta, we do have the modern anti-meta. We do have Regenesis. Oh my goodness, playing Majesty's Fiend. Vanity's Fiend rather. If you sit with Vanity's Fiend, I think you don't have any outs for this type of deck. You do have negations and a floodgate now. What more can you do? I think it is so much for a lot of decks. And next you do have Rizeol once again. Played Sakitama and Arutama package. You don't really see that recently. I think it has fallen out of favor for the most Rizeol players. They would rather play with Sharks rather than the Sakitama and Arutama. But it has its advantages when playing around Maxi because it counts as your extra normal, so you don't really give too much resources for your opponent. And moving on next, we do have Tenpai Dragon this time. Pretty standard deck list, just play Dominus Impulse and double Super Poly. And moving on next, we do have Paper Plane CS tournament in Japan. First would be White Forest. This time, no Finsmith. I think this is what I want to play White Forest. If you're going to sacrifice slots for Flawless or Imperm, no? I think it's not worth it playing Finsmith that way. And next would be Malice. Once again, triple Signet Mining. Oh my goodness. Wow, quite bold to make this type of ratio of Signet Mining. Next would be Rizeol with Upstart Goblin this time and 3 copies of Ascension with double Book of Moon. Next would be another Rizeol once again. So, playing Small World, 2 copies at the very least. And next would be another Rizeol, bunch of Rizeols on our report. It just speaks volume on how good Rizeol can be in this environment. Next we do have Gem Knights once again. Second, Gem Knights on our report. Not really sure. But this time playing Finsmith. The recent one was playing Pure, I guess. Next would be Unchained. Unchained Finsmith with Illusionist package with small White Forest engine here. And next would be ORCUS. Our first ORCUS that we have seen. So yeah, ORCUS has been falling really bad. Recently, a lot of people have migrated towards the best decks, Rizeol, Malice, and probably Regenesis, no? Next would be Snake Eyes, Azamina, Finsmith. So technically the tier 1 deck for Master Duel. I think this has been the most complete deck in terms of scalability in Master Duel, but sadly it doesn't transcend on the OCG. It's just too battered, no Beatrice, and the Snake Eyes cards are battered as well. And next we do have Live Twin, Finsmith, 2 droplet on the main deck, and no Meowls, just played 2 Purulia on the side. Next we do have Mementotlan, bunch of Mementotlans on our report this time. They are scraping off from the depths of representations on the past 2 weeks. They have been underperforming, but now they're showing signs of success. And moving on next, we do have Punk Finsmith this time. So Punk, I think Punk still has a room in this metagame, especially if your environment doesn't want to fancy playing many mid-range decks or your opponent doesn't have too much hand trap spaces on the hand. I think you're going to get a very good amount of advantages if you can go first and set up the Punk. And also, there's a way of FTK for Punk, which is really nasty. If you're going to face that kind of Punk and you don't have knowledge on when to interrupt them, I think you're going to get screwed very bad. And next, you do have Mermatlantean this time. So, pretty standard, just played Ultimate Slayer once again. Next, you do have Blue Eyes Primite, standard. Opted to play Skill Drain over Summon Limit. Next, you do have Blue Eyes Primite, no Skill Drain or Summon Limit on the main deck. Instead, opted to play it on the side with Double Bell as well. And next, you do have Malice, 60. Triple Chaos Space, oh my goodness. Yeah, and also played Horus as well. Yeah, interesting choice. Of course, you can make Zombie Vampire from it and dump cards for you. And next, you do have Malice Bestial, bunch of Bestials with Saronir and Baldrake on the main deck. And next, you do have ORCUS once again. Pure Raw ORCUS. I think the Pure ORCUS has seeing more play over the Finsmith and Azamina variants, and Horus as well. Next would be Blue Eyes Primite, triple Nibiru this time, no copies of Droll on it, just played Nibiru for the sake of ORCUS and Malice problem. And next you have Metagame, yeah, standard, this time played triple dimensional barrier, just to answer things like Tenpai Dragon, for example. And next you have Rizeol once again, with copies of 3 Judgment and 2 Sanctum, 5 going first cards, yeah, 5 going first, 3 when you consider Trust, rather 6 when you consider Trust, and played triple Flawless and triple Purulia on the main deck. Next you have Rizeol once again, played Saitama and Aratama this time. And moving on, next you have Mermatlantean, another deck that is dwindling on the tier C, and I think it is really played on Japan. I think the Japanese people are the most committed players for this deck. Not really sure what is their obsession with Mermatlantean, but I think it is still good, but not on the same level as the explosiveness or of Malice or Metagame at the very least. Next would be Marineford TC Tournament in Korea. First would be Rizeol, double Ogre this time, wow, and still played Gamma, wow, playing Gamma. And next we do have Malice, standard, yeah, standard, double Ogre once again, maybe for an answer for the Rizeol matchup. Next would be Blue Eyes Primite, standard, just play the Blue Eyes Ultimate Fusion, and oh, it is playing Magician Souls, wow. Interesting choice, because it is playing the Magia. Yeah, it's playing Magia. Next would be Malice once again. One of Signet Mining, I think that's the more standard way of playing Malice, playing one Signet Mining only. And moving on, next, we do have Sotaya CS Tournament. We do have Regenesis White Forest with Diabel Z package. And Triple Case Hunter, of course, just to answer the Malice and ORCUS. And moving on, next, we do have another Metagame. Triple Book of Moon this time to answer Rizeol. And yeah. Moving on, next, we do have Rizeol once again. One of Summon Limit on the main deck. No copies of Sanctum and the Barrier on the side. Just played Triple Judgment. And finally, someone playing Heavy Storm, no? I think Heavy Storm has been overlooked when people are considering Lightning Storm over the Storm or the Heavy Storm. And next we do, oh my goodness, another Metabeat this time. Yeah, another Metabeat once again from Sotaya CS once again in Japan. This time only 2 Border and 2 Pachi, only with Dominus cards, supplementing the going second prowess of the Metabeat. And moving on, next, we do have Rizeol, double Small World this time, and triple Ascension. And side deck one copy of the field spell, no? Just to beef up the going first of your Rizeol. And moving on next, we do have White Forest. Yeah, standard. Yeah, pretty standard this time. With Angel Statue. Next would be Quinta CS. Yeah, with Malice as the champion. Didn't up to play Sanctum, just played Strike and Judgment, which is really better on environments where you don't know what you're going to face. Next would be Malice once again. I think it is a 3-on-3 tournament and they are playing the same list. Probably or not. Yeah, they are not playing the same list. This time it is playing one of the barrier and side decks one copy of Mirror Logic Aggregator for the Ultimate Slayer. Next we do have Yu-Hero CS in Japan. Another Snake Eyes, this time with White Forest cards. Next we do have ORCUS from HSCS Tournament 3-on-3. ORCUS with 2 Orchestrated Return. And moving on next, we do have another Malice. Played copies of Salesman just to avoid getting nuked with Nib. And next, we do have Gem Knights once again with Finsmith, and copies of Nibiru are at 2 on the main deck. And oh my goodness, it is favoring Ogre over Veiler this time, just to have countermeasures against Rizeol, no? Wow, interesting stuff. Next would be Malice. So, copies of 3 D Barrier and 3 Judgment, technically 6 going first cards. Wow, quite immense value of going first investment. And next, we do have Rizeol. Oh my goodness, triple small world this time. Triple small world, wow. Oh my goodness. Not really sure how it worked. He preferred small world over Ascension. He only played 1 Ascension. Oh my goodness. Wow, this could be really interesting. Not sure how it functions in practice, but I think it could work. Yeah. Because you have more searches off with small world. Next we do have Yu-Hero Tournament. First would be Malice. Bunch of Malice in our report. And next we do have another Rizeol with 1 of Summon Limit. Next we do have Rizeol. Main deck Lancea, oh my goodness, just to have measures against the Malice matchup and sometimes ORCUS, no? Played Donner this time. And next we do have Yu-Hero Tournament once again. Malice played Gold Sark and no Allure and no Signet Mining this time. Next we do have Duelist King Cup Visas deck Scareclaw. Pretty good control deck now going first. I mean, it could stop a lot of things with the tryhard. And moving on next, we do have Quinta CS Tournament. First would be Gem Knights. We do have Meowls and Purulia on the side deck. And next we do have White Forest Finsmith with Azamina, Triple XYZ Encore, another tech against the Rizeol. And next we do have Malice once again, copies of Magnamut and Baldrake this time. And next, another Malice playing 1 of Book of Eclipse. I'm not really sure why Eclipse is not really played on the OCG. I think it is seeing so many representations in the TCG side of things, no? But it doesn't translate into us. Next will be Dakro Championship in Japan. First will be Blue Eyes Primite, playing 2 talent this time, and 1 of Lancea. Playing copies of Regeki on the side deck. Didn't opt to play Lightning Storm. I think Lightning Storm would make so much sense here over Regeki. And next would be Malice once again. Pankratops, oh my god, it has been a while since I have seen Pankratops. Wow. I forgot that this card still exists, to be honest. And next would be Crystron with Super Poly on the main deck. And next would be Ryuge 60 with Regenesis. 50 rather, only 50. Wow, Ryuge Regenesis. Interesting stuff. And next would be Rizeol. Played 3 copies of Retaliating Sea on the side deck. probably against Mirror Match and White Forest, potentially. And next we do have ORCUS once again. Play 2 Foolish Burial Goods and 1 Foolish Burial. And moving on next, we do have Malice once again. Played Heavy Storm and 1 Lightning Storm. No, why not play just 2 Lightning Storm over Heavy Storm? I think it would make so much sense. Maybe he's hoping for top deck games when you can draw Duster or Heavy Storm on the mid game. And next, oh my goodness, True Draco with Apophis and Mind Drain this time. No extra deck, of course, because you are playing the Erupt, the Monarch cards. And next, we do have Malice once again. Triple Seisban and triple Solemn Strike. No Judgment and no Sound Tune. And next, we do have Marineford TCG Tournament. We do have Malice as the champion of the tournament. And next, we do have Mementoatlan playing 1 of Red Reboot on the main deck. This is what intrigues me the most on South Korean tournaments. They often play Red Reboot as a 1-off on the main deck. Not really sure what are they trying to achieve with that, but it just works for them. And next we do have ORCUS once again with Finsmith. Finally, an ORCUS with Finsmith. Next we do have Crystron with Speedroid package. And moving on next, we do have Tenpai Dragon once again. Playing Ultimate Slayer with targets of Mirror Logic, Entis, and Dimalong. And next we do have Regenesis once again. Pretty standard. Oh, it is playing White Forest cards with Dogmatica. And next we do have Crystron once again. Lots of Crystrons in our report, no? This time playing 2 anti-spell free grants on the side. And next we do have Unchained once again. Standard? Yeah, I think pretty standard. Next we do have Voice Primite with Gamma package on the main deck. And next we do have another Blue Eyes. This time triple Talent and triple Dominus Purge. Didn't have to play Flawless or Nibiru on the main deck. And next we do have Lyrilis Tri Brigade. Wow, of course I would be delighted if I see Tri Brigade. I mean, this deck has been power creep for a very long time already, but still could work for a combo deck like Lyrilusk. Moving on next to the Blue Eyes Primite Buster Blader. Of course, Buster Blader is immense for the Mirror Match and Tenpai Dragon, and also stuns opponent going first. And next we do have Malice once again. Play triple Purulia. And next we do have White Forest standard. This time 2 Deception. I think this is what I want to see. 2 Deception. And next we do have White Forest once again. And moving on next we do have another Tenpai Dragon. Triple Gordon Schneider on the main deck. And another Tenpai Dragon this time. Bunch of hand traps. Didn't want to play Lightning Storm on the main deck. Instead opted it to play on the side. And next we do have, what is this? Engine deck. Yeah, Primite and Azamina and Finsmith. And a little bit of White Forest as well. And moving on next, we do have White Forest 50 card variant with Crystal Beast Fathers with the Cobalt Eagle and the Rainbow. And moving on next, we do have Malice, Triple Book of Moon on the side once again. And next would be Rizeol, standard. And another Rizeol this time. Triple D Barrier, no Judgment or Strike. Next would be ORCUS Millennium. Wow. I think it could work. Yeah, it could work. Could go with the Close Sky Goddess easily, enabling your Finsmith line of play. And you pretty much preserve your ORCUS later on. And next would be ORCUS once again. And moving on next, we do have Malice, Double Dominus Impulse. And moving on next, we do have Rizeol once again. And moving on next, we do have another White Forest playing 3 Lightning Storm this time and no Heavy Storm. I think Lightning Storm is so much more better than Raigeki or Heavy Storm combined. And we do have Ryuge anti-meta with Border. I think Ryuge just a good deck when going first. And the last report for our video here with the next play tournament in Japan. First would be Rizeol. And moving on next, we do have Tenpai Dragon. Pretty standard. Side deck 1 copy of Fadra. And next would be another Rizeol playing Small World and Meowls on the side deck. And moving on next, we do have another Rizeol, this time playing Donner. And yeah, that sums up our OCG Metagame report and deck list reviews from February 13 to February 19. So thank you for watching this video. If you found this video informative and helpful, please consider subscribing. It definitely motivates me a lot to keep providing this content for you guys. So once again, thank you for watching. See you on the next one. Peace.